The days are short, the nights are long, as Brisbane sings its winter song. Those favorite things we love to wear, and special evenings we can share. It's you and mine, come and feel the warmth. Come and feel the warmth.
Is what he wants to see from the Blues, especially in that first 20 minutes.
Thank you, Rod Tiley. Queensland about to move on to Lang Park in a game, Andrew Slack, where test jerseys are up for grabs.
Yes, and hopefully as we hear the starting siren, Queensland are about to walk out. Hopefully the whole series will be considered when the selectors sit down tonight and pick the 20 players to go to New Zealand. As Greg McCallum, referee from Sydney, comes out to do the State of Origin. We had David Manson, of course, for the second game. It was Mick Stone the first game. Tonight it's Greg McCallum's turn. Hopefully he won't be noticed. The referee's job's to make sure that the game is about the players. There'll be 26 of them out there tonight doing their best.
Andrew, one facet of the game that we haven't spoken about, no one's mentioned how Wally Lewis's arm is.
Yes, well, I don't think Wally Lewis would be playing if he wasn't totally sure that he'd get through. He's a sensible player. He's been around long enough to know about injuries, and I don't think we'd see him running out if he wasn't good enough, and here he is.
And before a capacity house, here comes Wally Lewis, Paul Vorton and company. Wally Lewis leads Queensland onto Lang Park, his 26th State of Origin game in Australia. 7 times man of the match. And behind him, the redhead of Paul Vorton, and here's New South Wales. And as could be expected, they're not getting any start with Andrew, another capacity house here at Lang Park. In fact, capacity houses for the 3 State of Origin games this year in Sydney and Brisbane.
Yes, well, certainly no surprises that we've got a sellout crowd at Lang Park, because we know how much we love our State of Origin. Queensland team. Gary
Belcher, the fullback. The wingers are McIndoe and Michael Hancock. The centres are Tony Curry and Dale Shearer wears jersey 14. The 5'8" and captain is Wally Lewis. The halfback is Michael Hagan. Martin Bella, Currid Walters and Sam Bacco comprise the front row. Dan Staines and Gene Miles, the second row. And the lock is the vice-captain, Paul Vorton, coached by Arthur Beetson. Martin Bella marshalling his troops.
And the New South Wales coach, Jack Gibson, his side, Gary Jack at fullback, Michael O'Connor and John Ferguson on the wings. In the centres, we've got Brian Johnston and Chris Johns. New halves pairing of Des Hasler at 5'8" and Greg Alexander. The forwards, Brad Mackay, Mark Geyer and Gavin Miller in the second row. Peter Kelly, David Truella and Bruce Maguire.
David Truella, remember him with Redcliffe. Went to eastern suburbs in Sydney. Of course, he's a Sydney boy. And back tonight in his first run-on game in State of Origin. Brian Johnston's been there and done that.
Australia.
And now it's testing time. Testing time tonight, Andrew Slack, for players like Mark Geyer and Brad Mackay, who are going to experience something they've never experienced in their life before. Sure, Mackay came on as a reserve in Sydney, but to be in the run-on team at Lang Park for your main State of Origin debut is going to be a daunting task.
It is indeed, but of course I don't think Jack Gibson would have either Geyer or Mackay on his side if he didn't believe they could do the job. We saw with Bradley Clyde, he's out of this match of course with injury. The first game, the first time he was up here, he struggled a little, made a few decent hits by the end of the day, but by the time he got to the Sydney game and was used to it, he played very, very well. Now Geyer hasn't got that opportunity to make, shall we say, a mess of the first game. He's got to perform from tonight. Hopefully for New South Wales he will, not so obviously for Queensland. But one clash that I'm looking forward to, and of course the man who'll run the show, Wally Lewis, and I guess all Queenslanders delighted he was able to make this game, and a big scare to rugby league in general when he hurt his arm. John Ferguson, we see, he's come in for the second time as a replacement, having been dropped and got a recall. But the clash between Belcher and Jack will be a great one. Should determine the test spot for the New Zealand trip.
There's the whistle for the start. Lewis kicks off. Immediately Alexander runs across field. He's met by Dale Shearer. O'Connor back at Lang Park tonight, back into the State of Origin football, runs at 4 metres. He's the highest point scorer for New South Wales in State of Origin football. Now Kelly, the enforcer. David Truella's first touch of the football. Miller's on the short side for Geyer. Underneath was Staines, and Vaughton was with him. Truella now for Maguire. He's about 4 metres short of the halfway in the final tackle. Alexander puts it in. Belcher comes in on the foot. Wrapped up by Hasler and dragged back. Playing 5'8" tonight, there's Hasler. Now he's got Curry. Martin Bella. He's played 7 State of Origin matches for 6 wins. Tonight he wants 7. Bacco. He's got 4 from 4 beside his name. Unbeaten in State of Origin football, Big Sam Bacco. Walters through the gap. The pass has gone to McIndoe. They won't get him. He's home for your T-money. Oh, Queensland have done it with only 1 minute and 28 seconds on the clock. Alan McIndoe in to score, but Kerrod Walters left them standing from dummy half. Queensland lead by 4 points to 0.
And cast our minds back to the first State of Origin, and it was a similar Kerrod Walters burst that resulted in a Queensland try. Here it is, the very, very loose defence for this time of the match around the ruck. Kerrod Walters, an expert at that. You can see McIndoe calling out for it. It's not a great pass, but superbly taken. There have been question marks about McIndoe's hands in the past. I think he answered all those right then. Great try. What a start, Queensland.
Tell you something about Alan McIndoe. He scores tries. He scored 2 at the weekend for Penrith when he started off here, but Walters' creation. It was his try. Thought O'Connor could have made a half dive at McIndoe, but McIndoe's speed off the mark is scintillating.
Yes, I think O'Connor's best chance would have been to try and knock the ball down, but he wasn't able to, went straight across. It was a great pass in the end. I felt as he threw it that perhaps it was a touch risky. McIndoe had called for it, obviously, had faith in his hands, took it beautifully on the fly, although it was behind him, and the result, 4 points.
Well, yes. Alan McIndoe told me in Sydney after the second State of Origin game, he said, I didn't get involved. He said, I want to get involved in the third. He got involved all right, 2 minutes into the match. No goal. Queensland lead 4 points to 0. Back in a moment. And from the kick-off, McIndoe takes it 10 metres out, and now Bacco. Centre field. Walters a dummy half. Now for Miles. Miles runs. He's lost the football. On the 22. Now Kelly's been... Is it Maguire? No, it's Kelly's been pulled out here.
Well, I think you'll find that Kelly played at the ball. He punched at the ball, and that's how Miles lost it. But McCallum's interpreted differently. He obviously believes that Kelly has actually tried to punch Miles as opposed to the ball. Penalty to Queensland. I think Queensland a touch lucky.
Martin Bella, straight at the halfway mark. Kelly and Maguire put him down. Now Bacco. Strong defence. Or is it? Now it's alive. Now Walters will lose it. New South Wales ball. Miller will play it. He didn't like the way Miles tackled him, and that's Truella. So centre field just short of the halfway. New South Wales possession, Alexander. Away to Maguire. Back to Alexander. Wrapped up by Vaughton and Staines. Truella. Oh, Kelly's dropped it. Miles, quick hands, it goes to Curry. There's plenty of cover. Someone better dive on it. Hancock will tidy up, and he'll have to take the tackle on the halfway mark. There's touch, so it's 6 tackles to go.
And a great tackle from Dan Staines from dummy half, starting all that.
Vaughton. Bella. And this is where Queensland have dominated State of Origin the last 2 years in the front row. Backo. So Miles trying to take that ball one-handed. He's knocked it on.
A little hard on Gene Miles.
Des Hasler playing at 5'8", the third 5'8" used in 3 matches by New South Wales against Lewis. And he's got the football now. Now Jack. Oh, Lewis has hit Jack. Top tackle. And has he hurt himself, Lewis? Has he hurt that arm?
Hurt the eye.
Queensland offside. Penalty New South Wales.
Lewis got a knock on the left eye as he went into the tackle.
Gee whiz, it's not the first time that Wally Lewis has hit Gary Jack coming into the line in interstate matches up here at Lang Park. I recall several in the past. You'd think Gary Jack might learn and might come in a bit wider, because Lewis seems to have his measure in close.
Now we'll see what New South Wales can do with the football just outside the Queensland quarter. John Ferguson gives it to Miller. They're up flat. What's on here? Over they go. Crisscrossing everywhere. Ferguson takes the tackle. Truella to Mackay. That looked forward.
Well, Mackay stopped as he took that ball, so he obviously felt it was, I think.
Now Alexander. Alexander's got the ball back towards Maguire. He's 10 metres out from the line. Truella from dummy half. He's a metre out. Big chance the Blues here. Alexander, little kick, and that's Queensland's possession. Couldn't get the gap, couldn't find the gap over the try line.
Queensland lucky, then Truella making easy yardage from dummy half, and only a try-saving tackle from Gary Belcher prevented New South Wales equalising.
Staines trying to get away from Alexander. He couldn't, so that's 3 tackles, and Queensland haven't moved. Walters can't make much ground. The big boot will have to be on here shortly. Or is Lewis going to run it? He's going to run it. It's quick hands with Shearer. He's got McIndoe. Back to Curry. Queensland running it from their own try line. There's confidence if you ever wanted to see it.
And they've been doing it all series, and every game they've run it from inside their 22, and it's paid big dividends. Why stop now?
Jack with a bit of room. But he quickly ran out of it with Vaughton. And now to Miller. Inside it goes to Geyer. Over the top came Backo. Here's Kelly. Oh, hit hard by Staines. Now Johnston. Fine play, this fellow. Miller's got Guy beside him, but the pass went to Maguire, and on the 22 he's tackled. Last one coming up. Alexander putting it high. It's not a bad kick. Shades of Sydney. Oh, Belcher takes it absolutely magnificently under pressure. He spilt the one at the stadium, which led to Laurie Daly's try, but he didn't spill that one. McIndoe 8 metres out from his line. Shearer in for Meninga. This is good pressure from New South Wales. Queensland having a struggle to get out of their own 22. Belcher dumming, can't get anywhere. Now Lewis on the final tackle. That's for Jack. How are the runners? Can Jack beat Tony Curry? He throws it to Ferguson. Now, that's not a lot of confidence from Jack. That was pretty risky, I thought, Andrew.
Yes, often he takes the defence on himself, but I don't think we've seen the Jack of 1988 this year ever since he broke his arm. He certainly wasn't impressive in the first game. A little bit better last time, but yes, that's not typical Jack, trying to find the support at that area of the field. What a good hit.
Lewis tackling ferociously. That's on his Bronco teammate, and he's hurt, Johns. Now Mackay. Chris Johns holding his shoulder, but I think he's all right.
Yes, he's okay.
Maguire played strongly in the opening 10 minutes. On the final tackle, here's Alexander now. Again, they want to test Belcher and McIndoe. Who's called? Belcher's called. Takes it well. They obviously feel, Andrew, he's a weak link with the high ball.
Well, he dropped one ball at the Sydney Football Stadium, but I mean, everybody makes mistakes. Belcher's obviously an outstanding footballer, and I don't think they'll persist in that for too long.
Bella gets outside the quarter.
The only Queensland forward really able to make room at the moment.
Now it goes through Hagan, over to Curry, and Curry will go to ground. I think that was Michael Hagan's first touch of the football. Now Lewis, here's Miles. Oh, that's a bit high.
Peter Kelly.
He's got away with it. Queensland have the football. Hancock will have to take the tackle. Kelly going in for the big hits. Lewis, stabber. And that'll find touch outside the 22. Obviously, Peter Kelly wants to continue on where he left off at the stadium. He's going in hard. He hits hard. He doesn't take any backward steps. And for New South Wales to win tonight, he can't afford to. Alexander feeds and away it comes to Hasler. Tackled by Belcher. He got around Lewis on that occasion, Hasler. Now Jack. Over to Johns. Up the middle goes Chris Johns. Deceptively strong free size. Miller. Tackled by Bella.
Didn't seem to have much of a clue what was happening then, Miller, nor who was supporting him.
And they didn't get it right then either, New South Wales. Hasler had to die with the football. Truella. Over it goes to Alexander. And that'll test Belcher, but it sits up nicely for him. They're not up in a straight line, New South Wales, and that's where they almost paid the penalty. Hancock takes the tackle. 3 went up, but they were like a triangle, and Belcher split them. Michael Hagan had a fine game when he came on for Langer in Sydney. Backo. Dyer won't put him to the ground, hanging on to him. Now Lewis. Do they use Miles and quick hands? Belcher's lost it. Curry will tidy up. Knock on ruled. Crowd don't agree. Borderline decision. Scrum the pack.
Yes, I do think it went forward first. It bounced and then came backwards. Yes, I think the movement was forward down and then Curry's dropping on it. Good decision from McCallum in my eyes. Not finding the tunnel too well, Greg Alexander, is he?
Well, providing the referees are consistent, it doesn't matter. Now John's coming inside. Borton's underneath. I got the impression neither of these teams have really settled down yet. Still testing time. Mackay.
Paul Borton doing a power of work in that centre for Queensland.
Truella. 10 metres short of the 22.
So is the man in the headgear, Dan Stones.
Now Miller. Now Alexander. Who's he looking for? Looking for Hasler. Found him, and the Queensland defence found him at the same time. Alexander down the short side. Ferguson with no room. Now Kelly putting up the bomb, and it's not bad. Who's calling for it? Miles. No, oh, it's let bounce. Here's trouble. That's been ruled forward by McCallum. Well, the trouble wasn't the forward pass, Wally. The trouble was Queensland let the ball bounce. That was the problem.
Yeah, Gene Miles should have taken it.
So New South Wales only 5 metres out from the try line with the loose head and feed.
Looked like being the case of 2 or 3 calling and nobody going for it.
Alexander, back to Hasler, he's under the post. But it was the mistake of Queensland letting the ball bounce that led to it. And New South Wales have levelled the score 4-4 with the kick to come.
Yes, and I just had that feeling prior to that scrum that Des Hasler may be a success at 5'8", nice to say after the event, of course, but just because of that extra pace. Alexander and he both very, very quick off the mark, and in combination, as you can see here, just too quick. Alexander throws the half dummy, but Borton doesn't fall for it, but still he makes ground forward. Inside, Dan Staines just hanging on for a second there, a bit of a hesitation. And when you hesitate against players like Hasler and Alexander, that's when you're in strife, as Queensland now are, because Michael O'Connor would kick his mother if he could get 2 points for it, and he won't miss this. So New South Wales will take the lead, but very pacey set of halves, something they haven't had with Terry Lamb and, of course, Chris Mortimer the last couple of 5/8s.
Connor adds the extras. New South Wales lead 6-4. Back in a moment. So Lewis restarts. It's taken by Gary Jack. That's Jack running with a little bit more determination. Brian Johnston goes to dummy half. He's outside his quarter. Truella. Short side with Mackay. Gains about 5 metres. He's 8 metres short of the halfway.
Wharton still doing most of Queensland's tackling.
Alexander picking up Hasler. Queensland slow to get up on him. Note Mark Guy hasn't seen a lot of the football so far, and here's the tactics from Alexander. Now there's only 2 players going up. There is only 2 chases for New South Wales. They were Chris Johns and John Ferguson. There was not another player in sight. Hancock.
Nobody going with him.
Hancock. Good run from the winger. Now he'll play it to Walters. Over it goes to Hagan. Lewis now. Lewis losing the football, and that's knocked on by New South Wales.
Good tidying up from Kerrod Walters. The ball went to ground, an obvious knock on, but still he was prepared to throw his body on it, which one needs to do. But Mark Guy missing a lot of tackles. We saw Sam Bacco get through him. Well, Sam Bacco will get through a few more people in his day, but Michael Hancock then shrugged him off when Guy really had a hold of him. That's not a good start by the Penrith second rower. Here's
Johnston. I'm not convinced Lewis's right arm's entirely 100%.
No, he's felt for it a couple of times tonight, and he's missed several tackles.
He went in with that. He only went in with one arm on that tackle. So Michael O'Connor plays it short of the halfway. Now it goes back to Kelly. 6 points to 4, New South Wales lead. 18 minutes gone first half. Miller. Oh, he's hit high by Miles. Had a bit of a grin on his face as he got up. Now Alexander gives it over to Maguire. He's dropped it and Borton's picked it up. Back to Miles. Now can Queensland consolidate with their handling.
Fine tackle by Dave Truella.
Walters a dummy half. Over it goes to Borton. Hagan puts the kick in. Shearer's chasing. How's the bounce for Shearer? And he's pushed Ferguson out of the road and scored. But that should have been a penalty, New South Wales, surely. Dale Shearer's pushed Ferguson out of the way without the football. Dale Shearer scored the try, but he won't hear the last of this. Queensland lead 8 points to 6. Now, did Ferguson give Shearer something first? It just looked to me as if Shearer pushed him out the road without the football. Let's see on the instant replay.
Well, let's look at first things first, and that is that Michael Hagan, the confidence he's got. That's only the second tackle, and yet he's elected to kick. He's seen something happening. He's had confidence in his own ability, but here Ferguson gets in the way. It looks to me a bit as if Shearer was sort of using him just to try and get around him. There was no other way of doing it. Initially, I must admit, I felt the same way. Alan, having a look at that, I believe quite legal. Fair try to Queensland.
Well, let's have a look. Here's Ferguson. To me, he's pushed him out the road.
The side on certainly looked as though he pushed, but the head on didn't.
Well, that will be... If that's the scoreline at the end of the day, or that try is going to tell the difference. You won't hear the end of it, but it's a New South Wales referee that awarded it.
I think what he was trying to do is just maintain balance as he tried to move away, and sort of the arms just came out, and he made contact, but I don't think it was a push.
Shearer to try and convert his own try from touch. It's no goal, and at the moment Queensland lead 8 to 6. Queensland get to the 22 with Sam Bacco. They lead by 8 points to 6. Now Bella takes on Maguire and also Mackay. He's not very big, Bradley Mackay. He's a fine player. Oh, dear, oh, dear, he's got him. Maguire's got Walters. Crowd calling for send-off. There won't be any send-offs here, I wouldn't think. He did get him a bit high. McCallum just telling him to keep it down.
Yes, it was a grab more than a hit. There was no stiff arm or no malicious intent, I wouldn't have thought, but he's got inside him. I've got to get him. So he's thrown the arm out. It's not pretty, and it wouldn't have tickled Kerrod Walters, but I don't think there was no way a send-off offence.
And it takes the pressure off Queensland. That's the thing for New South Wales. They didn't need that.
So Martin Bella, tackled by Maguire and also Miller. Now Bacco, straight up the middle. Oh, Bacco, powerhouse tonight. Mackay and Maguire struggling to put him down. Now Walters over to Staines, who's been tackling ferociously tonight.
It's one of the first runs he's had, and Artie Beetson told him to do it.
Lewis looking for support on his own, 10 metres out from the line. Queensland, big chance here. They lead by 8 points to 6. Now it's gone to Hagan. Holds it up. It's gone loose. Picked up. Dropped by Curry. Grabbed by Bacco. Back to Belcher. Now it goes to Shearer. And he'll have to take the tackle inside the quarter. Now Walters to Lewis. Miles. Can't break the tackles, and Guyer came in with a chop over the top. Lewis putting it high. Oh, it's a ripper. It's right on the try line. Up they go. It's a try to Dale Shearer. I'd say he's offside. Lewis has ruled, McCallum's ruled Dale Shearer offside. Lewis can't believe it, and he'll get marched 10 metres. Well, Dale Shearer's beaten everything here tonight. McCallum ruling Shearer offside. Here's the kick. Shearer's onside by, what, 3 metres?
An outstanding kick. I mean, it's past offside on the way up, that kick. And Shearer, it deserves a try. If you break the rules, I guess nothing does. But, gee, it was a great bit of rugby league. I'm just wondering if he is ruling an interference rather than an offside.
Well, anyway, that might square up for the one awarded to Shearer previously. So let's get back to the ball game. Michael O'Connor, and as happens in State of Origin, Andrew, there's never a dull moment.
There isn't, is there? You'd wonder how it could have kept up the pressure of the first 2 matches, but indeed it has.
So we've got 16 minutes to the break. Queensland lead 8 points to 6. Now it's gone to Alexander. Guyer trying to get involved in the game. The pass wouldn't go to him. It's gone to him now. That was crowd thinking it was forward, but Guyer was standing flat-footed. Now Mackay's found space, and he's also found the halfway mark. Alexander, dangerous. Inside it goes to Maguire. Standing in tackles, and he'll be in the touch. Great cover defence coming from Michael Hancock and Tony Curry. Here's the replay of Gary Jack with Shearer coming in.
I just feel that McCallum's rules, one of the Queenslanders knocked a New South Wales defender out of the way, therefore wasn't able to contest with Shearer.
You might be right. And the player he might have thought was taken out of the play was Gary Jack. But that's yesterday's news, and we've got 15 and a half minutes to the break. Now Bella hitting it up.
Dan Staines is the man they want working on this ball running.
Miles up the centre.
Maybe Staines this time.
That's him with the footballers, called by Rod Tiley. 5 metres short of the halfway in the final tap. Lewis will have to be quick. He's got time. How's the bounce? O'Connor takes it, and then he gives it to Jack with a bit of room. Jack trying to come inside, but the Queensland defence hold him 10 metres outside his quarter.
Again, Wally Lewis tackles one arm.
Johnson. Now Miller to Haslam. They don't have the numbers out wide. It's one-on-one, and Shearer's got Johns. Now for Kelly. Shearer's got him. They got the pass back to Ferguson, and he's almost through. He's over the halfway. Now the New South Wales is going to rule against Miles. New South Wales to find touch. Just short of the 22. Queensland lead by 8 points to 6. The third State of Origin match for 89. Queensland going for 8 wins on the trot. Now it's gone. Back to Ferguson.
Exactly the same move they had from their first tap in a similar position on the field. Line up all the forwards and John Ferguson takes it up.
Mackay's got under Bella. There goes Truella, and he's in. David Truella right in beside the post. It was Martin Bella's miss on Brad Mackay. Mackay went underneath him. Truella, the backup merchant, and New South Wales regain the lead. They lead 10-8 and they've scored right beside the pegs.
Well, form would have suggested further out that Queensland would have had the cover, but so close to the line, one break of the tackle. There it is in the supporting play, no cover. Gene Miles gets his hand on David Truella, but by that time, far too late. Truella under the posts.
And the kick should be almost a formality. Under Martin Bella. Well, you wouldn't expect Brad Mackay to take him on because Mackay's not that big, but he got under Bella, and Truella zoomed into the right spot.
The one thing Mackay has got is very good pace off the mark. I noticed it in a couple of runs tonight and showed it again there. As soon as he got under that arm from Bella, he was off.
So O'Connor in front. Makes no mistake, New South Wales lead 12 points to 8, and we'll be back in a moment. So from the kick-off, we're back with Gary Jack, who gives it to Mackay. That pass was very borderline, but Brad Mackay playing it well tonight. There's Kelly. Of course, the 20-man touring squad to New Zealand will be named after this match tonight. 3 test series in New Zealand, and all these players out on the field tonight can get their chance. Miller. The most amazing part about this game, Andrew Slack, is the non-appearance out there of Mark Geyer. And I don't think it's through lack of enthusiasm. That's knocked back by McIndoe. He just hasn't been in a position to get the football.
Yes, he took it once or twice early in the match. We haven't seen much of him since in attack, and certainly his defence, I think there's been a question mark over it. He's missed a couple of tackles. Maybe
that's Gibson's ploy. Keep him out of the game, let him get his sea leg, so to speak, and then bring him on later in the match when he can run the football out wide. He's too damaging a player just to be running around out there. Miles. 10 metres short of the halfway.
Geyer putting some in then.
Now Bacco. 5 short of the halfway in the final tackle.
They're all offside, New South Wales.
Lewis for touch. No, he changes his mind. Sends Jack back. Hagan and Curry will chase him. If they hurry, they might get him in goal. Can he get it out, Gary Jack? Can he? And he does. Oh, good work, Gary Jack. I'll tell you what, that 3 metres he made, that was worth an absolute fortune. Now Mackay. By God, he can break tackles, this bloke.
They're soft on the fringe of the ruck, Queensland.
Now it goes back to Maguire. That was more like the Gary Jack of old, running with determination. Now it's gone to Hasler. And he floats one to O'Connor, but Shearer's got him covered. And he's got him. Now he's got him, but not into touch.
Did well, O'Connor, to stick inside.
The class of the man. Now Alexander. Big kick over Belcher's head. Tell you what, New South Wales, their chasing game's not as good as I've seen it in recent years. Their downtown game just lacking a bit. McIndoe, Geyer and Maguire put him down. Queensland have had very few opportunities to attack. There's Walters, and he's lost the football. Geyer's got it.
Certainly seems that most of the game's been played in Queensland's half. They've got to get out of their own half and play it down New South Wales territory.
They haven't controlled the football tonight. It's been one of their trademarks over the last couple of years, the Maroons. But their handling errors tonight be as high as I've seen it for a while. Alexander chips to open spaces. And he'll keep it going. If he can't, it's loose. Who's got it?
Dale Shearer knew he was offside, couldn't dive on it.
Yes, very sensible play from Dale Shearer, because had he dived on that, the penalty to New South Wales, another 2 points, and that would have made it difficult. I don't think Wally's got anything to be unhappy about unless he's berating his own players.
So New South Wales, more chance to apply pressure. Here's O'Connor trying to make the extra man. It goes to Johnston. He's held on outside the 22. Hasler's a dummy half. Right on the quarter he goes to ground. Off goes Mackay.
He's having a great game, Mackay.
Now, Alexander. He's got Miller beside him. He cuts him out and gives it to Geyer on the fly. And Geyer's 10 metres out from the line. And that, you can expect to see more of that before the match is out. Truella over to Miller. Stab kick. And that's a try. He's ruled him offside.
Good decision.
O'Connor ruled offside by Greg McCallum. I'll tell you what, I don't know how far he's offside, but he had about 8 metres to spare at the finish.
Yes, Michael O'Connor, a thinking player. If he'd have felt he was offside, he wouldn't have been there, so it would have been very fractional.
Oh, by golly, very fractional. But look how much time he had and room he had. So, Greg McCallum's had some tough decisions to make in this game tonight. He's out there blowing his whistle, doing it the best he can. Queensland short of the quarter. Miles. Oh,
Gavin
he's
Miller
got
will
him.
be spoken to.
McCallum's got him.
Miller missed. But gee, there was intent there.
New South Wales skipper looking very solemn. He's in front on the scoreboard. There's not much need to do that, Gavin. Your team's in front 12-8. And now you're giving away advantage to the opposition. So Queensland on the halfway mark as the New South Wales coach, Jack Gibson, looks on. He's looking at his New South Wales players, doing it for him tonight. 12-8 they lead. Now Hagan giving it to Bacco. The crowd calling for New South Wales offside, but they won't con Greg McCallum. He's too experienced. Now Hagan gives it to Lewis. Back to Hagan, and he tries to put on the speed. He's on the final tackle now. Now goes to Lewis. Shearer tries to kick it ahead. That'll be the changeover. So New South Wales are just outside their quarter. Johnson got blood streaming from a cut. Alexander from dummy half. Over to Mackay. Oh, he's almost busted them again. He had one. If he had support, they were in the clear. He's giving Queensland all sorts of problem, the St George lock forward. Geyer's going half pace. Not running onto the ball, Mark Geyer. Now to Kelly. And through the big man goes. Great run. Martin Bella looks as though he's carrying a hip injury. Now Alexander's running, and he's through. Back it goes to Geyer. He's a big chance. Forward pass. Hasler's under the post. No try. So Greg McCallum has to rule again. But Queensland leaving holes.
Yes, Queensland have been beaten for pace. Greg Alexander here getting around Dan Staines just too quick for him. Just what Hasler's been doing, what Brad Mackay have been doing. It's all been speed.
Forward pass to Maguire. Now Queensland win the ball. Belcher, do they try and create a gap? Belcher still going. He's outside the quarter. Now Curry, who hasn't seen much of the football tonight. Queensland been playing most of the game in New South Wales territory, where Miles runs it now. A quick play the ball. Walters from dummy half. Inside is Lewis. Back it goes. Quick hands might be the answer. Staines goes to ground under the tackle of Kelly.
Indecision from Hagan on where the pass was going.
Now Bella.
Oh, there's knees in there from Mark Geyer.
New South Wales get the penalty.
Well, that was peculiar. Bella was tackled and clearly lost the ball. Mackay got up to play it, and Sam Backo said, no, it's our ball. I saw Martin go down with it, and the referee said no chance. In fact, it wasn't Mackay, it was Geyer.
New South Wales lead 12-8. Back in a moment. O'Connor's kick is wide, and Hancock's into space. Still running strongly, Michael Hancock.
He did that in Sydney and inspired the side. Maybe he can do it again.
Now goes down the short side to Miles. Back to Shearer. Still running but going nowhere. He's over the halfway mark with 3 minutes to half-time. New South Wales in front 12-8. Bella. New South Wales haven't allowed Queensland to be free-flowing tonight. And now we're starting to see mistakes. Hagan dumped on the halfway mark. Vaughton to hit it up. He's got a pass back to Walters. Quick hands out wide. Hagan couldn't get his pass away. They're on the final tackle. Lewis might run it. Now he's got the football. Miles. Over it goes. Shearer's dropped it. It's come up with Brian Johnston. New South Wales ball. Queensland's handling will have to improve in the second half if they're going to win this football game.
Well, the passing under pressure just going a little bit behind, and that's making it difficult to keep the flow. When you hit a tackler as you're not steady with the ball, you lose possession 9 times out of 10, exactly what Dale Shearer did. But with only 1:54 to go till half-time, Queensland need to hold the Blues out. And there's Hasler's great fend again, and his pace being used. Didn't make much room then, went mainly across field. But half-time historically has been a pretty good 10 minutes for Queensland. They usually come out strongly after the break. Queensland supporters will be hoping so tonight because it hasn't been an overly impressive first half from the Maroons.
John's trying a little kick ahead. It's to no avail because it ended up with his Broncos co-centre, Tony Curry. Hancock, where are the forwards? Still going, Michael Hancock. By golly, he's a strong man. 1 minute and 15 seconds to half-time. Backo. Lewis runs himself.
Chris Johns hasn't been onside for the past 4 tackles.
And that's what the crowd are calling for. Now Miles. 50 seconds to half-time on the final tackle. Now Walters gives it to Lewis. He kicks ahead. Alexander covers and he's got a bit of space. But he ran out of it when Miles got him. So 12-8 New South Wales lead. Ferguson off from dummy half. New South Wales in no hurry. Truella. In the last 15 seconds. There'll be a kick and chase on here from Alexander or someone shortly. Here's Miller. And he's almost through. This will be the final tackle. As Miller gets and plays it. Now, Alexander, half-time. They've got to put him on the deck. The pass has gone to Hasler. And it's touched. And O'Connor's dropped it. And it's play on. Shearer was tripped. That's half-time. And what a 40 minutes of football it was. And at the break, New South Wales lead 12 points to 8. We'll grab a breather and we'll be back in a moment.
Welcome back to the third State of Origin live from Lang Park. They're in a break at the moment. Let's have a look at the half-time statistics and the penalties for all. The scrum 6-2 to New South Wales. Tries 2 apiece. McIndoe and Shearer for Queensland. Hasler and Tuella for the Blues. 2 goals to New South Wales to Michael O'Connor out of 3 attempts and giving the Blues a half-time scoreline of 12 points to 8 in their favour. The tackle count, this is an important one. Let's have a look at that one. For Queensland, Backo 18, Vaughton 14, Staines 16 and Miles 11. For the Blues, Maguire doing a lot of tackling, 18, Truella 16, Kelly and Mackay 15. Plenty of action in the first 40 minutes and there were 4 tries scored, 2 disallowed. Let's have a look at the 4 tries that counted.
Unbeaten in State of Origin football, Big Sam Backo. Walters through they get. The pass has gone to McIndoe. They won't get him. He's home for your T-money. Oh, Queensland have done it with only 1 minute and 28 seconds on the clock. Alan McIndoe in to score, but Kerrod Walters left them standing from dummy half. Queensland lead by 4 points to 0.
Looked like being the case of 2 or 3 calling and nobody going for it.
Alexander, back to Hasler, he's under the post. Alexander and Hasler combining brilliantly. But it was the mistake of Queensland letting the ball bounce that led to it, and New South Wales have levelled the score 4-4 with the kick to come. Over it goes to Vorton. Hagan puts the kick in, Shearer's chasing. How's the bounce for Shearer? And he's pushed Ferguson out of the road and scored, but that should have been a penalty, New South Wales, surely. Dale Shearer's pushed Ferguson out of the way without the football. Dale Shearer scored the try, but he won't hear the last of this.
Exactly the same move they had from their first tap in a similar position on the field. Line up all the forwards and John Ferguson takes it up.
McKay's got under Bella. There goes Truella, and he's in. David Truella right in beside the post. It was Martin Bella's miss on Brad Mackay. Mackay went underneath him. Truella, the backup merchant, and New South Wales regain the lead. They lead 10-8. They've scored right beside the Pigs.
And the conversion was successful. That gave them a half-time lead of 12 points to 8. The situation not looking rosy for the Maroons. Let's find out if it improves very shortly. Welcome back. The situation at half-time. Queensland down by 12 points to 8. The players are back on the field ready for the second half. Back to Alan Thomas.
Thanks, Chris. Michael O'Connor has the ball set on the halfway mark. Greg McCallum, who's earned his money in the first 40 minutes, blows the whistle in the second half of the last State of Origin match of the decade is underway. New South Wales in front by 12 points to 8. And I'd venture to say that one thing Arthur Beetson must have stipulated to his players at half-time is to hold the football. Miles. But by the same token, he only dropped the football, Andrew Slack, when the pressure comes from the opposition.
Yes, true enough, but I do think Queensland have brought some of it on themselves. There we go. That's a drop ball from Gene Miles that shouldn't have occurred. The tackle was there, but Gene holding it in one hand early on, just not the same situation. There's the work rates of the forwards.
Well, Sam Bacco's earned his money, so has Dan Staines. Paul Vorton, the third highest on the tackle count with 14. Strange to see Kerrod Walters only with 9. The New South Wales pack's been working well. What about Bradley Mackay, number 13? He's made all the runs. He's made 15 tackles, only 3 behind Bruce Maguire.
And there's Geyer. Only 8 tackles and yet only half a dozen runs as well. So he's far and away the poorest of the New South Wales pack.
Here's Johnston. Lewis tried to tackle him one arm. That right arm's crooked, Wally Lewis. And I guess as the match goes on, Andrew, you'll have to ask the question if Lewis can continue. You've got Jackson in the fresh reserves, whether Jackson might. There's the left arm. 1 tackle again from Lewis. He's missed another. I think Arthur Beetson or Wally Lewis is going to have to make a decision before this next 40 minutes is up whether he's going to continue the game. You can't tackle one arm, and Peter Jackson's in the reserves, and he can play 5'8". Geyer. New South Wales on the final tackle. They're only 18 metres out from the try line. Alexander goes to dummy half. Miller kicks, and that's too hard. Miles too hard for Gavin Miller, who normally controls his kicking very well. What do you think about Lewis, Andrew? I mean, he's only got one arm. I mean, I know he's probably the greatest player in the world, but can you play at this level with one arm?
Well, I think Wally Lewis is the man to decide that. He's been in similar circumstances to this many times over his career. He knows whether or not that he's able to give 100%. Sometimes a player of Wally Lewis's ability need not necessarily be 100% fit, and he can get through, he can get by. Tonight might be a different story with, as we said before, the pace around the New South Wales halves, Alexander and Hasler. That may be the struggle for Wally Lewis, but I think he knows his responsibilities. If he feels he can't give, we won't see him here for 80 minutes. If he feels he can do the job, he'll stay.
Well, that's why I don't think he'll see him for 80 minutes, because that's not Lewis-type football. Here's Johnston. Only 10 metres outside the 22. Hasler goes to dummy half. Now Alexander giving it to Geyer. 10 metres outside the quarter. Kelly. Right over the top of Walters. New South Wales getting momentum. Here's Maguire. He's played strongly tonight, Bruce Maguire. And once again, Queensland find themselves defending their own line. And has ruled up the changeover. So Walters plays the football. We'll go to the sideline. Here's Tiley.
Thank you, Alan. Well, the story from the New South Wales coach, Jack Gibson, was keep hitting on the fringe of the ruck, and he was a pretty happy man with that first 40 minutes. I would imagine, Mel Meninga, that Artie Beetson not so pleased.
A little bit of concern, right, about our markers not working too hard. And we made a few missed tackles in the middle of the ruck, so there's a bit of concern about tightening up the ruck.
What about the fringe of the ruck and the fact that Wally Lewis seems to be carrying that arm and only tackling at times one-handed?
Well, that's smart play by New South Wales. I know Miller's running at him a fair bit. I know Wally, he's a great character. Will go all right.
To put Mel Meninga on hold. Walters, does he hold the football? Back to Miles. Over it goes to Curry. Then to Hancock, and he's in the corner. Michael Hancock has scored, and Kerrod Walters has opened them up again. 90 seconds into the first half. He did it. It's taken a bit longer this time. It's taking 3.5 in the second half. And it's 12 points all. That's a gem of a try.
And the great strength of the Brisbane Broncos, and tonight the Queensland side, has been their support play. And here we see Kerrod Walters making the initial break. He's taken the tackle, but who does he find? Gene Miles. Gene Miles, a quick basketball pass to Tony Curry. Tony Curry to his Broncos winger, Michael Hancock. Look how Hancock launches himself. Had he stayed too upright, he may have been a candidate for being knocked over the sideline in the cover defence. He's sensible enough. He's got a lot of experience over the last 12 months, Michael Hancock. And there's the break from Walters. They'll have to put the handcuffs on him for the rest of the half. He's been the main difference. He's initiated most of the Queensland's attack. There's Curry as ever running straight. Hancock, well aware where the sideline is, goes over in the tackle. Great attack from Queensland.
And that was a tough decision for the touch judge to make, because Hancock certainly looked as though he crossed the line, but he must have crossed it after he put the ball down. He had no room to move at all. So it's 12 all, and Dale Shearer from the touchline.
Big responsibility on Shearer. He's not often called on as a #1 goal kicker. Michael O'Connor, as we said before, a great kicker. Shearer hasn't kicked one yet tonight. This one's not simple by any stretch of imagination.
How's it look? It looks pretty good. It's over. He's kicked it. Queensland lead 14-12. We'll be back in a moment. So Lewis getting the kick in, chasing Jack back. It beats Jack into touch. Queensland rucking the ball down to the halfway mark. Lewis finding touch, 12 metres out from the try line.
Yes, and regardless of his injury, still the composure's there. Beautifully picked up from Lewis. Knows where he is, has a quick look at the gap, and puts his skills into work. Fine kick.
Well, football, like any other game, but more so at this level, is about pressure. It's about putting pressure on the opposition to make mistakes. New South Wales put all the pressure on Queensland in the first half, and now Queensland are trying to keep New South Wales in their quarter. Lewis has missed another tackle. Off goes Jack. There's Terry Madison on the sidelines warming up. A lot of people think he's inexperienced at representative football, Terry Madison, but he's played for New South Wales under 18. He's played New South Wales under 19, so he's pretty much accustomed to a blue jersey.
Be curious to see who he replaces. One would have to have the money on Mark Geyer, certainly not Brad Mackay. I'd be most surprised if Mackay gets a rest.
New South Wales have fallen asleep. Jack putting the boot to it. It's a shocker. Shearer will take it, and can he find a hole?
Gary Jack obviously hasn't done a lot of work on his left foot.
New South Wales making a mess of it. Now Miles. Queensland on a bit of a roll here. 10 metres outside the quarter. Bacco takes on Alexander. And with Geyer, they put the big man down. Now Walters over to Lewis. Belcher. Can he find a hole? Hagan. He'll take the tackle. He's 15 metres out from the line. Now McIndoe at dummy half to Shearer. Now Lewis. Back to McIndoe. 10 metres out. On the final tackle. Lewis is on the short side. There's the stab for Jack. He's dropped it. That's a try. Gary Jack has made the biggest mistake of his football career. And he's Johnny on the spot, Garrett Walters. And that's a try. And that just could be the end of Gary Jack for New Zealand. Dear oh me. Well, it just hasn't been his year.
And Lewis getting out of jail here. He should have been tackled, but still has the composure. Maintains it perfectly to put the little grubber in. And Jack, his composure was shot. Garrett Walters on the spot. And, well, if Gary Jack gets into the test side ahead of Gary Belcher after that, you'll have to ask a few questions.
Here's Jack. Well, I hate to be a bit biased towards New South Wales, but it looked as though he nearly almost forced that. Although Jack's look of disgust probably says that he didn't, but just looking at that replay, it was more or less 50-50, but you just can't make mistakes like that and you're in goal.
Well, he overbalanced. I'm sure part of it was the fact that he wasn't expecting a kick. Lewis, for all money, looked gone, should have been tackled, but somehow or other, he got himself around the defence and got that grubber kick in. Suddenly, Gary Jack had to readjust, didn't quite get the balance, and that support play again. And there's Wally Lewis. Well, maybe it's not his arm, it's his shoulder that they seem to be working on, and that could be the problem that seems to have been affecting him. But, you know, had he gone off, Queensland wouldn't have had that try. So Wally Lewis knows what he's about.
Here's Shearer from touch, and that looks good. Has it got the legs? Yep, it's over. He's kicked another one from the touchline. Queensland lead by 20 points to 12, but I don't think this game's over yet. But the momentum is just going Queensland's way. We just mentioned that just before that try. That try came from nothing. But you just see, Andrew, the momentum was just starting to go their way.
Yes, they maintained the ball in New South Wales half. That's what it was about.
Now McIndoe. Good drive from New South Wales.
Madison's on for New South Wales.
Madison on, and we'll see who has gone off in a moment.
Mark Geyer.
Mark Geyer is off. No wonder Lewis has got a crook left shoulder. He's only been tackling with his left arm all night. So he's got a injured right arm. He's got an injured left shoulder, and the crowd are roaring for Wally as he comes up. He reminds me of Victor Mature and Demetrius and the Gladiators, the way he's walking out there, Wally.
I missed that one, Tom. I was in black and white.
It was a good film, and here's Jack under pressure. Took it well. I know it hasn't been his year, Gary Jack, but I'll tell you what, he has given great service to New South Wales and Australia. He's a fine footballer. But that's what happens when you have injuries. And, of course, he broke his leg early in the season.
And John Ferguson again going across field. He's done it all night. You'll get nowhere like slamming the revolving door. Takes you absolutely nowhere.
Here's Johnston. He's at the halfway mark, and he's got support. Chris Johns. Back it goes. Madison. Alive to Ferguson. He goes for the corner. And he's tackled just short of it and into touch. And the tackler was Michael Hancock, helped by Wally Lewis. And there's a player down injured. It's Chris Johns, and he looks badly hurt at the moment.
And Hancock stood up, but look at his pace. Ferguson's got on the outside, but really, look, never a chance of getting to the line before Hancock got to him, and then Lewis coming in over the top ensures he goes into touch, and it's the Queensland feed. Queensland have only won 2 of the 10 scrums packed. Make that 3 out of 11.
Hagan just in the field of play. Chris Johns is still down, injured. Now Staines. Queensland lead by 20 points to 12. Terry Madison on for Mark Geyer.
The crowd yelling about Gavin Miller.
And Chris Johns, it seems to be ribs or something. He's up now walking around, so hopefully he'll be fine.
Borton.
Like a different side, Queensland.
Backo, the Blues are waiting for Backo to run to him. That's the result. Miles at dummy half. Kicks on. Big boot. That's over O'Connor's head. No, it's not. Great hands, Michael O'Connor. Across he goes, straightens up.
And I don't think New South Wales have used enough of Michael O'Connor's hands tonight. Perhaps that's O'Connor's fault himself a bit. He should maybe be looking for more work, but certainly an attacker of his ability, New South Wales should have had him in the play more often.
I just might mention that fine tackle on O'Connor by Michael Hagan. So just short of the halfway mark is where Madison takes it forward. And what a disappointing start of Origin debut for Mark Geyer. Wasn't sighted in the first 40 minutes and has been replaced early in the second half.
Well, we were saying before the match that had the similar effect on Bradley Clyde with his first State of Origin match as Alexander chips through. But again, Belcher, superb.
Now that's the difference between Gary Jack and Gary Belcher. Gary Belcher was prepared to lay down his life with that ball because he's not carrying injuries. He hasn't had a broken leg this year. He's not thinking about it. I know he's had a groin strain, but Belcher took that ball and he was prepared to cop it.
Paul Vaughton, what a great play that he's turned out for Queensland and putting in a big one tonight.
Bella's on the short side. And he's lost the football. Trowella will cover. Ferguson from dummy half. Over to Terry Madison and then the wraparound. And that's where that ends. Alexander to Hasler. Out wide is Johnston. Off goes Hasler. A nice tackle, Tony Curry. Alexander's calling for it again. They really haven't got the numbers out there, the Blues. Johns goes to ground under the Paul Vaughton's tackle. Miller knocked back and picked up by Shearer. Coming inside. Almost at the halfway mark. He'll play it to Hancock, who might have a scoot. No, he doesn't. Miles will. Walters did well to hang on to that, and Brad Mackay held on to him. Hagan, now Lewis. Curry, tackled by Johnston. Bacco looking to hit it up. And he has. Ooh, he just couldn't get the pass to Staines. Now Belcher's got it. Hagan. Centre field, 10 metres outside the 22. On the final tackle, Lewis making Jack go back. Oh, he's dropped that as well. Can he beat Belcher? Yes. Does he get out of the field of play? He sure does, Gary Jack. And now the pass has gone to O'Connor. Here comes the cover. Bacco was over the top. But the man underneath was the one that caught Michael O'Connor from behind. And I refer to Alan McIndoe. Here's a gap for Miller. So, New South Wales turned defence into attack. And just looking at the speed of Alan McIndoe, he gave O'Connor a 5 metre start, picked him up at about 25, Andrew.
Yes, and Queensland obviously feel that Jack has this weakness with ball on the ground. There hasn't been much high stuff tonight. They've tended to test him out.
New South Wales losing the ball.
With that grubber, and it's worked.
So Lewis from dummy half. New South Wales back a skinny 5. Queensland lead 20-12. If they score another try, that might just about be the ball game. Quick hands, they've got the numbers out wide if they hold the football. Now Shearer. Hancock comes inside. He's caught from behind and good cover. The cover came from Johns. Now Curry. Hagan. Inside to Shearer. Touched by New South Wales. Lewis picks it up. Back it goes towards Staines. Inside the 22. New South Wales try to get their straight line of defence. Shearer. Bella. Back to Vaughton. Hagan. Belcher. Gary Belcher. He's in. I reckon that's it now. Queensland kept the ball alive and New South Wales ran out of numbers. It was a game of mathematics. And Einstein's come up with a try, Gary Belcher. And Queensland lead 24 points to 12, and I don't think the Blues can come back from here, Andrew.
And I don't think John Ferguson will play too many more State of Origin matches. Queensland keeping the ball alive. That's the trick. They're not making much ground forward, but they're just keeping the ball moving. The ball beats the man is what they're working on. Here it is. Belcher says, see you later, John Ferguson, and then not a sinner in sight to tackle straight over. And here it is, Vaughton from dummy half. Shearer takes on the defence, shrugs off Hasler, finds Bella. Bella takes it in a different direction, then twists. Vaughton again in the different, out to the left. Hagan has it, does a little pirouette. Belcher, eventually the tackling succumbs. He fends off Ferguson. Queensland go to a 26-12 lead.
In that try, Andrew, the thing that you noticed, or I noticed, was that when the ball was being passed from man to man, New South Wales stood flat-footed. No one went for the ball carry. (24-12) with the kick to come. Makes no mistake. 26-12 it is. We'll be back in a moment. So from the kick-off, Alan McIndoe takes the first tackle. Now Paul Vaughton. Could be playing in his last State of Origin match tonight, Paul Vaughton, if he accepts a contract over in England. Miles at the 22. And the crowd, 33,000 of them call Queensland. Hagan trying to shed tacklers. And now they're starting to play confidently, Queensland. They're holding possession. Bella is 10 metres short of the halfway on the final tackle. Lewis calls for it. Decides to swing it to Belcher, and he'll go straight downfield. Jack waits. Curry puts him down straight out of the textbook. Ferguson, can he find room? No, he can't.
His crossfield running might get him somewhere with Canberra. Rarely does at this level.
Loves to tackle, doesn't he, Tony Curry?
Well, the New South Wales front row has to get moving. Kelly and Maguire have to do something. Truella took it from dummy half. Terry Madison now.
Unbelievable, the confidence that Queensland has sapped out of this New South Wales side since the halftime break. The Blues were sky high in that halftime dressing room.
What do they take at halftime, Mr. T? I mean, every time Queensland come out from for the second half, their play seems to lift and they're able to perform miracles. They were a bit sluggish in that first half. Second half, they've been brilliant.
That's right. Well, Artie Beetson just apparently quietly telling them what he wanted them to do. He said that they were soft on the fringes of the ruck, etc., and had to pick up the defence around there, and then he felt that their game would simply come together, and he was dead right.
Bella. Queensland only have to play it straight and no mistake free. Well, if New South Wales are to win the match, maybe a couple of reserves might be the answer. Phil Blake's on the sideline. They're going to use him. They'll have to use him quickly. Oh, Michael Hagan's given Miles room. Now Miles coming inside. Here's Walters. Has he got the speed? No. Wally Lewis over the top. And there's another try to Queensland. Tony Curry. Michael Hancock over in the far corner. And that's the ball game all over now. Queensland lead 30 points to 12.
Well, Jack Gibson could bring on a few Phil Blakes now. It wouldn't make much difference. And there's Hagan shrugging off 3 tacklers. That's not good enough. Miles looking for support. He's only got 4 options. Takes care of Walters. Lewis senses the way to go is out. He was right. And then the overhead pass fooling John Ferguson. Curry always running straight, always in support. Goes over in the tackle. That's just constant support. Now look at this. Hagan gets away from Maguire. Inside Gavin Miller. There's Miles going about 3/4 trot. Kerrod Walters makes that decision as Lewis obviously gives him the call. Then the overhead pass. Ferguson was in no man's land, and again the body height. Curry very low. No chance of Chris Johns knocking him into touch.
Gary Jack and Peter Kelly going off. Well, that's the first time I can ever remember Gary Jack being replaced at this level of football, at any level of football.
Yes, certainly. I have no memory of Jack not lasting the game if he wasn't injured, but he's had a poor one tonight. He had a poor one in the first State of Origin. Gary Jack, 1989, a bit of a wipeout for him.
Shearer from the touchline. No goal, so Queensland lead by 30 points to 12. Andrew, this game has changed like someone's clicked their fingers. The first half, Maguire and Kelly dominating. The second half, they haven't been seen. So much so, Kelly's off the field.
Yes, well, as I said before, I just wonder what Queensland do at half-time. But you find that experience and quality of players, they eventually come to the fore. Now, it may take 40 minutes, it may take 50 minutes, it may even take 79, but they do. And that's what happens with Queensland. And their forward pack is superior, their team's superior. And the scoreboard's telling that.
Belcher to McIndoe. Well, I wonder what the new players can do. Phil Blake, he's a bit of a magician. But I don't know whether he's got enough tricks in his bag tonight. He hasn't got the time, I wouldn't think. 15 minutes remaining. And Queensland on a roll. And there's the difference. The front row taking the team forward, the backs finishing off.
Mackay still tackling, though. He was the man who made the tackle on Bella. He's been a very good player for New South Wales.
McIndoe, 10 metres short of the halfway. Phil Blake into tackle with Madison. Borton just hits it up. Amazing player, Paul Borton. He's played in, well, this will be his 20th State of Origin tonight as Lewis kicks downfield. He will have played in 20 State of Origin matches and 15 winning sides, Paul Borton. That's an amazing percentage, Andrew Slack.
Yeah.
Hasler. Lewis has gone. He's down injured. And Hasler's still going. Is he holding the arm or the shoulder? He's holding, I think, that right arm. He is. New South Wales with Blake.
Yes, it's the arm.
As we mentioned at the start of the telecast, everyone was worrying about players, but no one mentioned Lewis's arm. Well, it's not real good, and here's Blake.
Peter Jackson warming up for Queensland.
It doesn't come as any surprise.
Blake and Cartwright, the replacements for the Blues.
Here's Madison trying to put Truello into a gap. He couldn't do so.
And Sam Bacco, the leading tackler in the first half for Queensland, continuing that.
Madison putting the kick in, and that goes into touch. McIndoe not getting any part of his body to it. This is Lewis trying to get Hasler. Yes, went with the right arm. He had to go with the right arm because Hasler ran that side, and there's the result. Lewis holding that right arm. He's still on the field. I suppose you have to look forward to New Zealand, Andrew, and you'd have to say that well, that arm's very dicey with a 3 test series coming up against New Zealand. The team picked tonight and they leave on Monday.
Yes, well, the problem, of course, is if there's a crack there again. I don't think Lewis will want to go off tonight, no matter how sore it is. There's Peter Jackson. He's on the touchline, but I think Lewis will be the man determining whether he's had enough tonight. And I just get the feeling that Wally will want to be here in 12 minutes, 46 seconds time to hear that final hooter.
You're absolutely right. He has told the runner he is not coming off.
Here's Hancock.
Yes, the pass from Dan Staines did go forward.
Wilson on for New South Wales. Jackson on for Queensland. Jackson's in for Tony Curry.
Jackson will go into the centres with Shearer. Tony Curry leaving the field. Of course, he had a knock against Cronulla and he had 10 stitches inserted in a cut. He's a certainty on the plane to New Zealand. So Peter Jackson back in State of Origin football this season. Blake.
Truello replaced for the Blues.
Ferguson. So Alan Wilson and 15. New South Wales have used all their reserves. There he is. Jackson makes his first tackle. 12 minutes remaining. Queensland in front, 30 points to 12. There's Cartwright. Now Wilson. Over to Miller. Blake, and now Johns. Blake kicking across. It's a good kick for McIndoe. It's coming over his wrong shoulder, but he got a nice position, and now he might make a bit of move. Cover got him. It was a very awkward ball to take. Now Staines. By golly, Andrew, Queensland have had a lot of possession in the second half.
Yeah, well, that's the difference, of course. They didn't have much in that first half, and what they did, they they threw away more often than not, so they've been able to address that problem. And when a team of this capacity holds the ball for long periods of time...
Jackson's away. Here comes Shearer in support. If he draws the fullback, it's all over. Oh, but the cover from New South Wales was absolutely tremendous.
Jacko, I think, was coming up and down on the one spot towards the end. He knew he'd be picked up. He had to throw that pass in. It was too early.
McIndoe just short of the line. They're on the final tackle. Will Lewis dive over from dummy half? He's lost the football.
But that's got to be 6.
Shearer kicks. Ferguson grounds it, and he's in goal. Goal line dropout.
Well, it nearly worked, that kick, but I think it may have been a touch premature because McCallum had ruled 6 to play. As we see a touch judge and more replacements. Gary Coyne comes on for Gene Miles.
Yeah, they're all on now. We've got Coyne and Truella and Kevin Walters all coming on. Gene Miles is coming off. Kerrod Walters is coming off.
So they're going to share in the glory of the reserves. Gilmister, Coyne, Jackson and Kevin Walters.
The man who came off for Queensland only a couple of moments ago is Tony Curry, TC. A bit of a hamstring problem.
Yes, Rod, I pulled her a bit going in for that try there, you know, trying to get a bit of extra yardage, but just a slight strain. I'm just taking the precaution. I think the game's well won for Queensland.
It certainly is. That half-time turnaround, magnificent stuff. What did Artie say?
Well, mate, you know, we haven't heard the Queensland call out there too much, so we kept calling the Queenslander. And, mate, we knew we could do the fancy stuff, but we had to do the hard yakka, and Arthur just stressed that. And, mate, I come off to give my old mate Jacko a run and see him brag about it on the radio.
And he went pretty well in that run too.
Yeah, he showed a bit of pace there, didn't he?
OK, Tony, hope it heals up well.
Thanks, Mr. T.
So Jackson inside the quarter. We're in the final 9 minutes of the match. Now Lewis. Oh, Shearer. Speed. Speed, Dale Shearer. Hit that like a tornado underneath the post. And that makes Dale Shearer the equal try scorer in State of Origin football. He joins Michael O'Connor with 10 tries. And that was Shearer at his best.
Sure was, and it was Wally Lewis at his best too. They read each other's play beautifully. They knew what was happening. The gap opened. It was like the seas in the Bible. They just parted. And Dale Shearer doesn't need a second invitation. Here it is. It goes to Lewis. Shearer just doubles around. On the outside, he's got inside the New South Wales defence. There's no sign of cover. Even Des Hasler hasn't got the pace for his club mate. Flirts with danger there. Makes it even easier for himself. Of course, he's the goal kicker. He wants to kick the 2 points.
If you want to know how fast Dale Shearer is, you know how quick Hasler is. Hasler, no chance at all. Never laid a hand on it. Well, if anyone have seen the try that Dale Shearer scored for Manly at the weekend, he took a ball on his own try line. He ran the length of the field, put it under the post, and not one player laid a hand on it. He's got electrifying speed.
Says something about the depth of this team, doesn't it? When he can't get in the top 13, he's only coming as a replacement.
Lewis going off, and on comes Kevin Walters. There's the roar for Lewis. He shakes hands with Kevin Walters, who makes the State of Origin debut. Shearer from in front. Converts his own try, and Queensland, this is an absolute thrashing now, lead by 36 points to 12. After New South Wales led 12-8 at half-time. And that arm is a real concern, not to Arthur Beetson anymore tonight, but it'll be a concern to Bob Fulton, the Australian coach.
28 points in 33 minutes in the second half for Queensland.
Borton dumped unceremoniously. 6.5 minutes to the break. Gary Coyne. So Queensland tonight, 8 matches on the trot. Dan Staines.
Did a lot of the hard work in the first half, Dan Staines. You don't see him running 30 or 40 metres with the ball, but gee, he does a lot of the tough stuff in the middle. And so does this man, Sam Bacco. Mistake there from Hagan, but Bacco once again really involved in both defence and attack, and I guess he wouldn't have expected to play the full 80 tonight, as he wouldn't have in Sydney 2 weeks ago. His body will feel like a toothache tonight, I reckon, but well, what a player, and he's on that plane for New Zealand, no doubt.
So So Kevin Walters has gone to 5'8". It's not a bad piece of work to put in your scrapbook, is it? He's got bought for offside. Breaking too early from the scrum. Put that in your scrapbook. Had to replace Wally Lewis in a game. Let's go to the sideline. Here's Mr. T.
OK, Alan, it takes a brave man to pull Wally Lewis off when he says he wants to stay on. Artie beats and you had to do it. He played well.
Mate, he certainly did, but, you know, it was stupid for Wally to do it. I can understand as a captain that he wanted to stay out there, but it's like he stayed out there longer than he should have. We all know that, but he's got more important games coming up.
I don't know what you said to these blokes at half-time, but you must have had the magic words.
Mate, they're all professional. Our market defence is pretty woeful and our ball control is pretty woeful also, so we just improved that area. There's no doubt about it. You know, I thought that McCallum gave us a pretty tough time in the first half, but we got a roll on the second half. There's no doubt about that. The score indicates that.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
So Maguire was prepared to take on Backo there. That would have been interesting. So McCallum getting Queensland back. And Alan Wilson is only 5 metres out from the line. Alexander, inside it goes to Miller. New South Wales very close to scoring. 36-12 Queensland lead. Oh, hospital pass. Mackay took it. Now the backs are lined out. Alexander dummies and goes the blind side, and that'll be a try for Maguire. Fumbled it, held it, got it down. That makes the scoreline a little bit more respectable. Queensland lead 36-16. It's taken 36 minutes to score in the second half.
Yes, and I doubt they would have mattered, but there's the long pass and a little bit of good fortune there. The defenders were thrown a bit by the fumbled ball, but landed again nicely from Maguire. Alexander, who's played pretty well, particularly in that first half. Not many New South Walesmen played too well in the second half.
Well, Maguire, I suppose his first half performance was sensational. In the second half, they just didn't get the momentum up, but he was rewarded. He was kept on the field by his coach, Jack Gibson, and he's been rewarded with the try. O'Connor fails to convert, and Queensland lead 36-16, 3.5 minutes remaining. Andrew, when you look back on this game in the series, I mean, we know how good Queensland are. We've praised them. New South Wales, do you think they made any glaring either selection errors or tactical errors or anything like that?
I just believe that they chop and change too much, and at times they pick players on form who haven't got experience. Now that may sound a bit peculiar, but Queensland tend to stick with their tried and true. If they perform for them in the past, they'll give them a go, even if their form's a bit shabby. And you'll find that when they come into this sort of atmosphere, they lift themselves. Sam Backo is the perfect example. New South Wales, if you're not in form, bang, you don't get another chance. I believe, OK, Michael O'Connor's had a few injuries and he hasn't been in great form. I think he should have been in the side from the start. Mind you, it's all done way before it gets to Michael O'Connor. They needed a bit up front. And, you know, they're missing players like Wayne Pearce, those experienced core, the Peter Sterlings. So they had a battle, but I just feel that they don't give the experienced guys a chance if their form's not on top.
I want to ask you something. If Sam Backo was playing for New South Wales, or was eligible for New South Wales, and he was playing reserve grade in Sydney, do you think New South Wales would have picked him?
Not a chance, not one single chance. And of course, Queensland, on the other hand, have always changed this. Where did Artie Beetson come from in 1980 to lead Queensland to that first victory? Reserve grade at Parramatta.
Yep. And talking about players, they pick players on form, and some players don't measure up. I think the biggest disappointment, I think, of any State of Origin match I've called was Mark Geyer. Now, unless he was injured, tonight he just went missing.
Yes, he certainly didn't look great. You would have expected more from him in that first half hour because New South Wales were going quite well, but it was the youngster Brad Mackay who was doing most of that.
Queensland just outside the 22. Ball goes to ground. Let's go to Rod Tiley.
And with me on the sideline is the man of the match from State of Origin Game 3, Kerrod Walters. Mate, you've played in 3 of these. Have you enjoyed this one the best?
I think this has got to be the best one of all, because we've wrapped up the series 3-0 and we're just showing how good a side we are.
You started the Queensland momentum off with a great break from dummy half and served a pass to McIndoe for a try. Did he call it, or did you know he was there?
I knew someone would be there, so I just looked around. I saw Alan trailing, so I faded towards him and luckily got the ball to him.
The Queenslander call came up in the second half. You were leading it.
Yeah, we've got a Queenslander call that means we've got to pull together and work our butts out in the fence, and we certainly called a lot of that tonight in the second half.
Kerrod Walters, man of the match, game 3, State of Origin 89.
The Winfield man of the match, Kerrod Walters.
Yes, and Kerrod said that he felt this was the best one for him. I think when it's the one most recent, it always is the best. But looking back over the 3, very hard to go past that effort at the Sydney Football Stadium. The courage shown that day, OK, not the attack that we've seen tonight, but I think if you ever wanted an indication of what the Queensland team was about, you needed to be at the stadium 2 weeks ago. You wanted to see their skills, well, you've seen them tonight.
So McIndoe safe as a bank. Oh, that's a nice tackle from Brad McKay. He's one fella can hold his head up. Now the countdown begins. In the final 15 seconds, the crowd will count a decade of State of Origin football out for you. Queensland go into the history books. 8 straight wins against New South Wales, and they've done it in tradesman-like fashion. 36 points to 16. And Andrew, I think we've been privileged to watch a decade of State of Origin in which we've seen some of the greatest football of all time.
Yes, certainly the concept that got rugby league back and firing here in 1980 in the 1980s, and probably it's worthy to recall Ron McAuliffe's effort in doing it. As we go into the 1990s, let's hope the standard of play and the atmosphere that these games create continue.
Rod Tiley just trying to get Gene Miles, I think, for us down there as all the elation, and as the fact we'll go to Rod. I think he might have Big Gino now.
Yes, I have, and Wally wanted to go and join the troops from the sideline. Gene Miles, great game out there.
Yeah, it certainly was, Rod. We did it tough in the first half, but we regrouped at half-time. We knew what we had to do, and I think we certainly did it in the second half.
Did that first half performance from the Blues surprise you? I mean, did they catch you on the hop?
No, not at all. We knew that they'd be a very physical side, and they didn't let us down. They come out with all guns bearing, and to their credit, they were in front at half-time. But as I said, we had a good think about it at half-time, and then come out in the second half and done our job.
Okay, mate. Obviously, you're looking forward to that trip to New Zealand.
Yeah, well, we'll wait until later on tonight to see the side name, and hopefully I'll be there.
I reckon you'll be the first bloke picked.
Thanks very much, Rod.
There's one thing about State of Origin, one statement made by the manager, Dick Turner, that I'll never forget, Andrew Slack, and it was about Gene Miles. A couple of years ago, Gene Miles missed a training session in Sydney, a cork thigh or something, and he was fooling around with Dick Turner, who's been the manager of Queensland for a long period of time. And I said to Dick Turner, I said, you're mad flirting with Gene Miles, one of your players. He said, Alan, he's not one of my players. He's one of my sons. And that's how Queensland play. 36 points to 16 is the full-time score, and we'll be back in a minute. Well, there's the scene. Sam Bacco and Wally Lewis with Tony Curry going over to thank a section of the 33,000 crowd who've not only supported Wally Lewis and Queensland tonight, Andrew, but supported them since 1980.
Yes, I think that's obviously been a very important part for the Queensland Rugby League side, and that's evidenced by the fact after every game they go and applaud the crowd.
Let's go once again to Rod Tyler.
Okay, we've got Chris Johns down here on the sideline. He looks a bit like a chameleon at the moment. He's just swapped shorts with his Bronco teammate in Tony Curry. Chris, really, you had a great series for New South Wales.
Yeah, mate, I just wish we could have got away with, like we started off well tonight, but Queensland was just too hot on the night and really got away with the game. I just wish it would have been a bit closer.
Yes, in that first 40 minutes, you looked as though you had the answers to the Maroon lineup.
Yeah, we did. Then a couple of bad mistakes, and just can't afford to give mistakes away to this side. They turn them into 4 points.
Chris, you played in the centres tonight, and the other 2 games you've been on the wing for New South Wales. Which of the games did you enjoy the best positionally?
Oh, well, probably I enjoyed the last time. I'd rather play in the centres, but I enjoyed the second game because we were a lot closer and like we nearly should have won that game.
Okay, well, obviously you'd be hoping for a spot on the tour to New Zealand. I reckon you'd have to go real close.
Oh, mate, I can just hope. That's all I can do.
Okay, Chris Johns, great series. Well done. We're proud of you.
Well, there's a big ask.
That is an effort.
Hey?
Yeah. Artie Beeson's favourite instrument, the dinner bell, and they're holding every ounce. Good luck. It takes about half a dozen of them. Lucky there's 13 in the team.
Well, lucky they had Sam Bacco and Martin Bella there and Miles. Well, Arthur Beetson, he's folklore, isn't he, in Queensland football? Starting right back in 1980 when this
So is that man. Man with a cap, Dickie Turner.
That's the man, Tosser Turner. They're not my players, they're my family. You know, Andrew, they do play as a family. They lay down their life for their fellow players.
Let's recall something about tonight's match and just show you how Queensland play the game. Obviously, the job was done up front by those tough men. They scored 7 tries, one by Kerrod Walters, who set up 2 of the first 3. The other 6 by 3 quarters. 3 by the centres. Shearer got a couple. Tony Curry got 1, and the other 2 by the wingers, Hancock and McIndoe. Isn't that the way football's supposed to be played?
Well, it's the same old story. The forwards take the ball forward and the backs do the rest, don't they? Let's go once again to Rod.
OK, I've got the Twins, or this is the second half of the Twins anyway. Man of the match was Kerrod. Here's Kevin from the Canberra Raiders. Mate, welcome to State of Origin football. Mum and Dad in the crowd tonight.
Yeah, thanks very much, mate. Yeah, it's, they'll be up there for sure. They wouldn't miss this for the world, I don't think.
OK, well done, and obviously enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks very much. Congratulations to Kerry too. He had a really good game, I thought, and that's coming from your heart. Well done, Kerry. Good job.
Well, Walters always plays well, doesn't he? So the presentation of the Winfield Shield coming up shortly as players exchange words and congratulations with officials and their own teammates.
And Michael Hagan, let's not forget him.
Magnificent night again for his Queensland side. There's no doubt about it. They are the champion State of Origin side. There's no doubt about that. What do you say about that, Lang Park? Absolutely magnificent performance. Whitewashing the Blues. 3 blot twice in a row. And that was 8 wins on the trot for the Queensland side. But the Blues tonight, I thought, put up a great performance. And of course tonight, both packs of players will go into the draw to see who wears the green and gold when we take on the Kiwis coming up shortly. Well, the man of the match, a difficult one to pick tonight. In some eyes, it might be a certainty, but there were so many players that gave so much. Mr. Ken Arthurson, the chairman of the Australian Rugby League, the president of the New South Wales Rugby League, I'd like to call on you now to perhaps do the honours of man of the match, or perhaps introduce the Winfield people to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Australian Rugby League, it's my very great pleasure to congratulate Queensland on a sensational State of Origin win during season 1989. I think it's only fair to say that this is probably the greatest Queensland side that I've ever seen in my long association with the game. I'd like to say also, ladies and gentlemen, that the standard of play produced by Queensland is a great credit to their coach Arthur Beetson, their captain Wally Lewis, and in fact everybody associated with the side. To New South Wales, I'd like to say thank you. Nobody can be accuse New South Wales of not doing their best, and after all, that's all you can ask of anybody. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that all New South Welshmen would agree that the best side won on the evening.
We'll leave Ken Arthurson there and be back in a moment. So back we are for the finale for the series and for the decade. Wally Lewis just making his speech.
Queensland players extend their warmest thanks. They put up a great game. It really tested us to the limit in the first half, and it was just my thanks to my own guys, the way they came back marvellously well in the second half to wrap up the series. To Arthur Beetson, our coach, and all of our team management, both managers, our trainers, doctors, everybody, extreme thanks, because it really is a family type situation, and we very much do enjoy going into camp. The big thanks from the Queensland guys goes to the public of the Rugby League here, who've turned out again and packed Lang Park. It would have been easy to stay home and watch it on TV live, but we feel very good about everybody coming out, paying the money to watch us play football here again. We hope you've got your money's worth, and thanks from the bottom of our hearts.
We'll leave Wally there take a break and be back with more.
Well, there it is. Queensland winning the final State of Origin match 36-16. Wally Lewis accepting the Winfield State of Origin shield from Neil Abercrombie, and well done to the Queenslanders. And to take us out tonight, our final State of Origin, a tribute to a decade of State of Origin football. Thanks for joining us.
Here's Miller with a little double kick about the chance. Try! Ettinghausen getting it over the ball. Inside pass for Ettinghausen's done astray. Over the Queensland line. Over the dead ball line. Well, what's he going to rule here? He's going to rule a try. Oh, we'll talk about this. Well, we've been talking about this for ages.
Lewis, a little chip. Whoa, it bounces off the upright.
The 1989 State of Origin telecast was proudly sponsored by Medway Bank and Castlemaine Perkins, brewers of 4X.